Hey everyone, this is Shooting Illustrated bringing you another episode of iCarry. In today's feature, we're looking at a retro Smith Wesson Model 36 no-lock revolver and some related gear. Let's take a closer look at this setup. Where to begin with today's kit? For starters, you can immediately tell we've got a retro vibe going on, starting with the Smith & Wesson Model 36 classic no internal lock 38 special revolver. One of the more contentious components of Smith & Wesson's revolver lineup was the addition of an internal lock in the early 2000s that some allege caused malfunctions, while most everyone else thought spoiled the lines of an otherwise attractive revolver. With the new no internal lock line of revolvers, Smith & Wesson is addressing this now. Other than the retro vibe, the Model 36 is, well, a Model 36. It's a 5-shot J-frame revolver, which is currently Smith & Wesson's smallest revolver size. The barrel is slightly less than 2 inches. The revolver itself has an overall length of 6.9 inches, height of 4.3 inches, and is 1.3 inches wide. Weight, since this is an all-steel revolver, is 19.6 ounces, a few ounces heavier than the airweight models and nearly half a pound heavier than the Scandium exotic models. It's plus P rated, and the extra weight makes shooting these more powerful 38 specials a little more tolerable. Choosing a 5-shot 38 special revolver when smaller, Micro 9 double-stack pistols like the P365 and Hellcat offer more than double the capacity might seem puzzling, but the revolver still has its place as a self-defense tool. If you're a fan of the revolver and want something with a retro vibe but with modern construction, you'd be hard-pressed to find a better option than the Model 36 classic no internal lock option from Smith & Wesson. If it's the simplicity of operation of the revolver you like, the hardiness, especially if carried in a pocket, or maybe you're just more comfortable with a wheel gun, it's worth a look. On a personal note, this was an easy choice for me to make for an iCarry kit. You see, the Smith & Wesson Model 36 revolver was the very first handgun I ever carried after getting my concealed carry permit many years ago. Whether carried on the belt in a leather JP holster or inside the waistband in a Bianchi pistol pocket, the Model 36 started me off on my concealed carry journey. I'll always have a certain fondness for the small frame revolver, and, as evidenced by a number of current trainers out there, it's still considered a viable option for self-defense. From my father's backup gun as a police officer to my first concealed handgun, the Smith & Wesson small frame revolver has been a reliable companion. There's a lot to be said for that. When it came to choosing a holster for the retro Smith & Wesson revolver, it was a pretty easy choice on the company. As I mentioned, I carried that vintage 1950s Model 36 in a Bianchi holster for quite a while. I wanted to continue that leather outside the waistband vibe with a modern offering and chose the Model 57 Remedy holster from Bianchi for today's kit. Constructed of premium leather and an open-top design, the Remedy has a slight cant to facilitate a rapid draw. One advantage of the small frame revolver is that it's not particularly difficult to conceal outside the waistband. The short barrel doesn't require an overly long cover garment, and while the revolver's greater width over semi-auto makes carrying inside the waistband more challenging, that's not as big of a problem when carried on the belt. The design of the Model 57 helps alleviate problems that sometimes plague small revolvers with rotating on the belt line, where the bulk of the weight is on or even slightly above the belt. When carried inside the waistband, there can be a tendency for the gun and holster to splay outward when moving. The design of the Model 57 prevents this, and looks pretty good too. We're continuing the retro theme in today's kit with the Squire knife from Buck Knives. It's a traditional lock blade design with a leather belt sheath and a nail notch opening. Certainly not the most tactical knife out there, but then again, the Smith & Wesson Model 36 isn't the most tactical handgun out there either, so it fits in well with this kit. The Squire features a 2 3/4 inch drop point blade constructed of 420 HC steel for ease of sharpening, with decent longevity thanks to Buck's heat treatment process. Scales are rosewood, providing a hint of color and aesthetic edge, which can be accentuated with custom engraving on the blade from Buck for a slight upcharge. For the overwhelming majority of tasks for which we actually use our EDC knives, opening packages and breaking down boxes, the Squire is perfectly well suited. For more information on the items we've chosen for today's kit, and for other guns and gear combinations, please visit shootingillustrated.com. And, as always, stay tuned for more episodes of iCarry.